How do you use your own AI sales CRM? This is a question I get a lot every single time I'm talking with a prospect or an existing customer. In this video, I will show you how I use Breakcold for myself. Most of our customers are sales teams or founders of small digital businesses such as agencies. I think my use case is closer to agency founders as I'm the only salesperson in my team. Therefore, I don't have a lot of time, so I try to automate my CRM as much as possible so that I can just focus on one thing, which is selling. Let me show you how I do it. All right, guys, so first let's talk about structuring an organization when it comes to the CRM. So how I structure myself is that I basically have 4 lists. So customers, signups, outbound plus inbound visitors, and partnerships. And mainly I live in the signups list and outbound list. Signups is basically the inbound SaaS signups we have. And the outbound plus inbound visitors, it's a bit specific how I do this because if I show you the pipeline, we'll try to blur some stuff anyway, is that we do get a lot of anonymous visitors that we identify with a specific workflow. And from there, they are pushed to the CRM. And by just dragging them to push to Smart Lead, they go to a specific Smart Lead campaign. And yeah, that's pretty much how it works. I will link in the description the video on how to do such workflow. So we're trying to maximize every potential leads with this type of workflows. And for the ones that are not qualified, I tend to send them a LinkedIn invite. Then in this list, I have a positive replies from cold emailing. So we're also sending a lot of cold emailing every month. And so we're starting to send more and more. And then I put the positive replies here. And from there, conversation starts and leads, they are moving automatically in follow-up and different stages. And if they become a sign-up, they will automatically move to the sign-up list. Then in terms of setup, so if I go to Vision and I click on Configure Vision, as you guys know already, like the CRM is able to move leads automatically in the CRM, but also to create tasks automatically. And the thing is, by default, Breakcold create a lot of tasks. So even with leads where you don't have a conversation at all. So what I've done is that I created myself a dedicated CRM personality, we call it. And so how it works is that mine, I customize it in a way that it doesn't create tasks when there's no conversation with a lead. So this is the description. So the MRR addict follow-ups consistently every 3 business days because he wants revenue to grow. He's casual, but not too much. He only follow-up leads when there is an existing conversation thread, with one exception, CAI rule of the personality. He doesn't create follow-ups otherwise. And as you can see, the follow-up frequency is 3 days. Email length and message length of the AI suggested message is medium. And this is basically the rule that I created. So rule number 1. Do not create follow-up tasks for leads where there has been 0 conversations. Only create follow-ups when there is an existing conversation, at least 1 message or 1 email send. Exception to rule number 1, when the lead is inside the list, customers in the stage cancel but not lost yet and churn risks, create tasks with them even if there are 0 existing conversations with the lead. For the name of the follow-up, name it in a way that it summarizes what the convo is about. And so by doing this, I prevent myself to have too many tasks and only task with people where I have conversation with. I have a quick summary of the topic of the task. So typically here, you see it's very specific. It's provide incoming webhook URL to Terry, because we were talking about like webhook and how to set this up in a different ways. And yeah, then from there, I just go through my task. I will talk about it later. I will still focus on how I set up my CRM personally. And if I go to configure Vision, so like I told you, I have a lot of specific rules in my case to automate the CRM. So one of those rules are when it comes to move leads automatically in the CRM. So I like to give strict rules to move the leads in the right lists, because I want to make sure that the success rate is 100% when it comes to moving the leads. I don't have time to redo it. So what I've done here is that for every single different lists that I have in the CRM, I gave a guidance or a strict rule to move leads in the right list, because once the lead is inside the right list, it's very easy to move the lead in the right sales pipeline stage. So I tend to not give any instructions when it comes to moving the person inside the stages, but I do focus heavily on giving guidance or a strict rule when it comes to moving the leads in the right list or the right lists because the leads can move in different lists. So as you can see here in outbound plus inbound visitors, there's something that says put in this list only leads that have as a custom field source cold email or anonymous visitor. And so if we go to the list outbound visitors and I just click, for example, I don't know, Vasquez. So you can see if we scroll down a little bit, you can see that the source is anonymous visitor. And so if the source is anonymous visitor or cold email, the leads are allowed to be moved automatically in that list, but otherwise no leads can go in that list automatically by the AI. And so this is a rule that to me is pretty handy. And so essentially you can automate the CRM depending on what you have as custom fields, which is a pretty good thing to do. All right, guys, so now that we have talked about pretty much the setup I do for my own AI Sales CRM, let me show you how I actually use it on a day-to-day basis. So this is how I exactly use my sales CRM. All right, so how I use Breakcold is that when I go to the vision section, I try to do all my tasks. So I have a lot every single day, sometimes up to 100. That's why sometimes there's a bit of overdue, but within 20 minutes, it's usually done. And my priority is just to do my tasks because every 3 days, I'm a bit aggressive, but every 3 days, a task will be created if I forgot to send a new message to a lead or if the lead didn't reply to me in the last 3 days. And so from there, I just focus on doing the convos. Sometimes I'm using the AI suggestion message, sometimes I'm not. But essentially what I'm doing here is that when it makes sense, I like to get the engagement like tab here open, and so I'm trying to open it every single time I'm going on a lead, so that sometimes I'm finding helpful information that I can leverage during our conversations, whether just by engaging with the person to kind of have a double notification system, and so that they're like, oh fuck, I forgot to reply to that guy, and they get back to you. Or sometimes I will just use it in my follow-up message. And so yeah, that's pretty much how I use this, and I try just to get shit done and do the task. And so if you notice, you see that sometimes if you're really good at prompting, you can really improve the messages that are automatically created by the AI. It can even use automatically the post of your prospect. So you see, love your off the record third post. And so it's your job essentially to be really good at prompting your AI CRM agent. I personally like to follow up sometimes manually, even though this would sound automated, but it just does work. I know it works. I'm really adapting myself depending on the prospect. So once I'm done with my tasks, what I do is I go to the people section, and in all leads, I have loads of new people in the CRM every single day. And it's mostly our qualified SaaS signups that are pushed automatically in the CRM with an API workflow. So you can also do this with Zapier, but typically if you are an agency, you could replicate that workflow if you have like people submitting a form or whatever. And the lead are pushed automatically, but because there are no informations related to them, by default, they don't move automatically in the CRM. And so they just arrive in the CRM like this. And so what I do is that I pick the email address, and I really like to manually check if they're truly qualified. So I don't use any softwares or anything to automate this process. So what I do from there is that I will check them on LinkedIn, and I will click on more right here, and I will do connect, add a note, and then I will just say, so you tried Breakcold. So I do this manually almost every day, and it sounds like dumb, but first, my LinkedIn account, I really like it to be safe. And also, I think it's a great way to really manually check every single lead, and sometimes AI is not able to retrieve leads from an email address. So I want to maximize like the number of contacts I can get in touch with. And from there, I open the Chrome extension, I add the email here, and I click on create lead. And from there, like the lead will be merged in a couple of seconds into Breakcold. And so pretty much how it works. And once you start to do a lot, it pretty much looks like this. You have lots of people in the CRM with all the good looking profile picture. And from there, they're moving automatically in the CRM, because if you connected your email address and your LinkedIn account and you have convos with them, the CRM will move them automatically in the right buckets. And so that way I don't have to do anything when it comes to managing the leads. And so once I finish to add all the people on LinkedIn that are qualified leads, what I do is that I focus on active conversations inside the LinkedIn or the email inbox of Breakcold. And as you can see, the people who accept my LinkedIn invite will automatically populate inside the LinkedIn inbox, which is great because from there, like, not only it will detect the activity, the CRM will be able to move them automatically. So here, the person has been moved automatically to book the call, because also by email, the person booked the call. But usually if the person just accept my LinkedIn invite and they haven't booked a call or whatever, they will be moved to another stage, which will be like first message sent or convo started, depending on the case. And so once we've said that, yeah, just focus on active convos. So I have a lot of convos. So sometimes it's convos with people that are already tried Breakcold, sometimes it's not. So depending on that, I just filter the LinkedIn inbox or the email inbox with only people in the CRM or all my conversations. And once I'm done replying to those people, I will click on D or mark as done here so that they can move to the done section. And if they reply, they will go back to do. And so just a way for me to have a more inbox zero system, even though LinkedIn is pretty heavy. So as you can imagine, is pretty long. All right, then another aspect that is pretty important for me is everything related to integrations. So sometimes when a lead is like super interested, I will tend to enrich them with different numbers. And so for that, I'm using find email. Or if I don't find the email of the person and I just have their company name, full name, and website URL. So here I already got his email, so I don't have to do this. But usually it's the reverse. Like I have email address, I have the website URL of the person, company, and full name. I will enrich to find the valid B2B email address of the person. And so that's why I set this up. And then all my meetings, I do lots of meetings using Fireflies. And so automatically, when the meeting is ending, it will log the data in the lead directly. And so from there, I can always recheck this. But most importantly, the AI will use the information from the meeting to create relevant tasks, to move the lead in the right buckets, so that I have a single source of truth when it comes to moving the leads automatically and creating those tasks. And so if I show you my integrations, you see I don't have a lot of integrations connected in Breakcold compared to everything that we have. I simply have Fireflies, Smart Lead, and Find Email at the moment. And yeah, I'm always testing a bit. Sometimes I have Better Contact instead. Sometimes I have Find Email. But yeah, that's pretty much the integrations that I'm using. And the final point are analytics. So if you see my analytics right here, you might think it's very poor, which is absolutely true, which is weird because we have sales teams that are using so much more data points inside Breakcold, because we have like blocks for a lot of things. When it comes to the analytics, you can pretty much build what you want and analyze activities by team members, etc. But me, I really want to keep it simple. Again, I'm the only salesperson in the team. I don't have to manage it all. And so all of this, fortunately, is moved automatically by the AI, so I don't have to move the leads automatically. So this is always up to date. But really where I'm focusing on is those things. Always try to make sure I have more active conversations compared to the previous period, and always more conversations that started compared to the previous period. And so yeah, I try to monitor this more every 7 days to make sure I have as many convos as possible, because essentially more conversations equals more sales. So my true KPI when it comes to generating more revenue for my business, at least when it comes to me and the time I have available, is to focus on having more convos. And so the rest, the pipeline, etc. In my particular case, like, this is not my focus because we're a SaaS business, but our customers, they are mostly agencies. And so they will use all the different blocks at their disposal to track all of this. So when it comes to companies, I don't really use it a lot. By default, Breakcold creates companies automatically when you add individuals. But me, I tend to focus just only on the person that has purchasing power. But sometimes for some companies like Cold IQ here, I will attach different people to that company. Actually, this guy left the company, so I will remove him. But essentially from there, like everything is synced. So all the different email communications, LinkedIn, etc. is centralized for all the different people related to that company. And I will do it only for clients where we have at least 5 to 10 seats, but otherwise I would just focus on individuals. That's pretty much about it. So depending on the case, I will put companies in the pipeline or only individuals. And yeah, that's pretty much how I do it. So as you can see, my setup is very simple, and I think you don't need to make something more complicated than this, because again, the most important thing is that you focus your time on selling. And so yes, you can always make something better, but me, I'm just one salesperson in my team. If I were to have a sales team, it would be much different, and I can see it with our customers. It's much more complex what they've built. But if you're in my shoes, so solopreneurs or like small team with not a lot of salespeople, you want to keep things very simple and just to focus on chatting and chatting and chatting with your leads, which is the most important to move the conversations forwards and ultimately close more deals. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to like it and subscribe to that YouTube channel, and click on this video to see how to reveal the identity of your website visitors to generate more leads for your business. Cheers, ciao.